you know the difference between me and you? He goes, Phil Romano goes, I don't go scramble as a multimillionaire, hustling to get everything done from square one, taking all the burden myself and doing it through willpower. I just find amazing people to get these things done, and I hand it off to them, and that's the difference between me and you. Do billionaires just work harder? Like, they don't have more time. It's not about working harder. It's like a completely different format. And so I had this mentor, and I introduced him to Rich years ago, and he used to sit down and have lunch with Phil Romano once a month. And so Phil Romano did Romano's Macaroni Grill and Fuddruckers and one other billion-dollar, revenue restaurant. And so here's how he really got wealthy. He's on the golf course. The guy that invented the heart stint, the guy that invented that, is golfing with him. And he's like, I'm gonna build this out. I gotta go create this distribution structure and this company. And Phil Romano's like, okay, you could do that. It's risky, it's gonna take a lot of money, it's gonna take a lot of time. He says, what if we just plug into existing distribution? I know someone, let me call him. And that one phone call, obviously there was work after it, but they had both made hundreds of millions of dollars from plugging into something that already existed. So this guy is talking to my old mentor and was like, hey, do you know anyone that could run this company? I have this idea that I think is a really good idea. And the mentor was like, that is an amazing idea. And so he goes, I don't know anyone, but I'll keep an eye out. So they get together for lunch again a month later. And my guy goes, hey, Phil, what's going on with that idea and that business? How's it going? He goes, well, I haven't found the person to run it yet. He goes, you know the difference between me and you? He goes, Phil Romano goes, I don't go scramble as a multimillionaire, hustling to get everything done from square one, taking all the burden myself and doing it through willpower. I just find amazing people to get these things done, and I hand it off to them, and that's the difference between me and you. So I think that, just the whole idea there is just limiting what you're focused on and finding what is the path that gives you the most momentum, and where can we profit up front from it versus trying to build it and profit later. The old business models are confusing. Like when FedEx was built, he raised capital, he spent years to build the infrastructure, and then he released it. If someone does that in today's market, someone beats them to market, they're being profitable. Like I went to Vietnam 10 years ago with Matt Moenlig. And so Matt Moenlig owns WordPress. And so think about WordPress. He did get a little bit of investment up front, but most of WordPress is built by its users. They go build the plugins. It's an open source software. He profits from the people that actually use it. His workforce is not paid because they're actually using it, and they create that, and it's now one of the most utilized tools on the internet. That's what I want to do, is have you thinking about not how you can do the work, but how you can lead the vision. Because, as much as there's a lot of people that think, in the media that Trump isn't smart, Trump's one of the most savvy media people in history. And the bottom line is, I remember hearing him speak 15 years ago, and the way he spoke used rhetoric. He used a ton of rhetoric, which is a lot of hyperbole, a lot of this is what we're gonna do, this is what's gonna happen, and rhetoric has a bad name, but the thing is, rhetoric is the most powerful thing in the world when it comes to vision. Think about Martin Luther King Jr., he used rhetoric. Rhetoric is anytime something isn't in existence and you speak it into existence before it exists. And so most people are afraid of it because they're afraid of how they might look if it doesn't come to fruition. But people that aren't afraid of it, like Trump, he'll say, we're gonna build the most magnificent building in the world. I remember he was talking about something he was building in Vegas at the time, which is now the Trump Tower there, and he was talking about something in Dubai that he was building. He never lifted a hammer. He never struck a nail. He never, put a piece of steel on there. He simply had the rarest commodity in the world, which was vision, and compelled other people to it, because how many people are lost in purpose? How many people need some direction to figure out what it is that they can do in this world, and they're attracted to certainty and people that can use rhetoric in the proper manner, right? I feel like business is a set of habits and rhythms.
Yeah.
So what I want you to do is, Bill Gates used to, at the end of every day, he would look at his calendar and go, what did I do today that I could have had someone else do?
Okay.
And is my calendar reflecting the person and business I want to have? For me, I do Mondays as a main buffer day. It's just prepping everything for the whole week, meeting with any business partners or people that I'm working with and all the details, and Amanda and I going over everything, and then on Tuesdays, I make it a project day. Project days for me are focus days, because it's today's a focus day, it's not a project day because we're doing an immersion, but normally on a Tuesday, I'd be working on my writing. And I don't go to the office. I have an office at my house for project days. I change my environment for the change of the type of day, because that's my not urgent, important day, which my intention is 80% of that day is in the urgent, not important project. 20% of my day could be buffer. Maybe I start the day just clearing out email or end the day clearing out email. And what I do is I train my team that my buffer days, don't email me through the week, save everything for that buffer day, and we'll just go through the checklist, because we can go through that checklist in 10 minutes. Email back and forth might be 10 minutes on one issue. So I start training them, because I'm not in a world that there's a lot of emergencies. You could just categorize it in 3 ways. Gained energy, neutral energy, lost energy, based upon those activities, right?
Yep.
And that starts to give you the roadmap of what you're gonna eliminate, because anytime you grow and scale, I look at it like a ladder against a building. If I'm gonna climb this cabin on a ladder, I'm not gonna American Ninja Warrior where I hold on to the rungs and try to keep throwing the rungs up because they fail and fall, and you have to be superhuman. I let go of one rung and I grab the next. So anytime you're gonna take on an initiative, you have to ask what you're delegating or letting go before you take it on.
Okay.
And then you can take on. And I like the question of, if you were gonna be 10 times more profitable, what would you have to do more of, but more importantly, what would you have to stop doing?